So one of the biggest industries that we've seen moving into a more sustainable future is the automotive industry,
for sure,
right?
Yeah. I do think 2022 is going to be a put up or shut up year for the auto industry at large. We need to start seeing these things ship in numbers, and we are seeing some evidence of that. Of course, you mentioned Tesla, but the Ford Mach-E is shipped. They just announced they're doubling production of the Ford F-150 Lightning.
That's great.
So we should see a lot more of those, and that's important because Americans tend to buy trucks and SUVs and crossovers, and that space in particular is starting to see more car companies coming in and competing. And so hopefully we'll stop just looking at concept cars and promises that they're going to ship an EV in the next year or two, and we'll actually start seeing wheels on the road.
There's just a huge perception gap right now. I just want to read some numbers to you that are a bit large and sort of shocking. Nearly 53% of consumers think that EVs are just not reliable.
Wow, okay.
Another 64% think they're too expensive. And then an even a larger number, 85%, just don't even believe that charging stations will be an actual practical thing for an EV future.
Right, so I've got good news and bad news for those stats, I think. I think on reliability, that perception should change, and I think it will change. I think a lot of the reliability perception for EVs has been based on Tesla, which has had some build quality issues, misaligned panels, and so on. But as the big established car makers start to come in and start building EVs at volume, I think that'll change. And just fundamentally, an electric vehicle has fewer moving parts than a motor, a gas motor, so it should be more reliable. In terms of price, that's also coming down. I wish it would come down a little bit faster, but you start looking at the sort of like mid-premium tier where you're looking at like the Mach-E and the Model Y and some of the other SUVs that are coming from like Volvo and Hyundai. They're actually relatively comparable to their gas-powered equivalent. So I think we are starting to see that come down. The third thing, though, you mentioned is the charging network, and that is pretty problematic. Tesla's supercharger network is the gold standard, but Electrify America and the other charging networks out there aren't where they need to be. There's a reliability problem, and there's also just, are there enough of them, and are they fast enough?
But what about CES? What are we seeing at CES that's going to maybe, show consumers that these companies actually care and are showing up, to your point, in 2022?
Yeah, so both Intel, Mobileye, and Qualcomm have announced some foundational tech for self-driving. Not technically EV, but a lot of people associate those two things together, so that's important. But the big one to me is the Chevy Silverado got announced. That's going to compete with the F-150. And again, Americans like to buy trucks, and so here is a electrified truck, and I think that will help the industry as a whole. In terms of perception and availability of these cars, it's felt really slow for the last few years. I think that this year and in the coming years, instead of it feeling slow, it's actually going to feel really fast.
So we love to see the focus from the automotive industry on electronic vehicles. It's such an important part of sustainability. But for us at Group M, we're actually really excited about the evolution of the automobile becoming a device. Similar to your cell phone or your laptop, it's really becoming a platform for software. And that unlocks a ton of potential. The implication for marketers and advertising in general, as the evolution of the automobile continues to increase more towards a software-based platform, is pretty profound. And we're excited to continue to explore the opportunities and see the innovations taking place in that space in 2022 and beyond.